Welcome to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is on helping you, the real estate investor, advance to the next level. And now let's join this week's hosts and share ways for you to customize your life.
There are over 400 five-star reviews for your business. Number one, that means you've been around more than a few weeks. So how long have you been doing this mortgage thing? And number two, how do you get a team or a business to amass, to put together, or to earn, that's the word I'm looking for, 400 five-star reviews? Tell us about that.
Oh, thanks, Danielle. Well, you know what? I think, Mission 35, we started in December of 2016, and it started just with a handful of us, me and a couple of other really key people. And I think that, to get that, because, as we're growing, we're getting more and more, we're getting closer to 500 now as well, too. It really comes with just doing the right things for people. It's not rocket science. We take from a mortgage broker perspective, we take an education vantage point similar to the REITE Club. We like to educate our agents. So when people come and work with Mission 35, we love to have real estate investors come work with us because we like to work with real estate investors. And we really pride ourselves on doing the right thing for people. We're as happy, we joke and say we're as happy to get people into debt as we are to get them out of debt. Right? So, and I think that was where those reviews come from. And I think what our real secret sauce is, I've always been a big advocate for our team. Some people always say that the customer is always right. I take the vantage point that our team is always right. And our team is always, I have the back of the team, and we always support our team. And I think what manifests out of having just a phenomenal team is phenomenal customer service. If everybody feels like they've got support, they're in a great culture, great team, like no different than having your real estate investment team, then you can't help but have great results and happy clients. And that's where I think a lot of those reviews end up coming from.
And you use a keyword here in my book I make that I wrote 15 years ago. I talk about the difference between customer and client, and how in the mentality of people, when you have customers, you treat them a certain way, but when you have clients, it's a different approach. And you use the word yourself. So people you work with are clients, not just merely customers.
Yeah, you know what? And we really try to, really dig into our raving fans as well, too. The ones that, like, we have a program now, we call it Mortgage Free University, MFU. So, and we've been thankful over the past almost 6 years now, we're going on almost 6 years, we've actually been able to see a lot of people that have become mortgage free. And that's where Mission 35 came from, is for me to become mortgage free by the time I was 35. And now we've started through real estate investment. We've got a whole bunch of people that have actually achieved that too. And it's just, they become friends. Those people become friends, just like the people in the REITE Club, they become friends. And you get to share best practices, good ideas, and you get to learn from each other as well, which is just awesome. All
right, Catherine, I will get back to you in a minute and let you ask some of your question. But I want to really okay. So you wrote a book called "How to Get Mortgage Free Really Fast," right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What do you do with these people once they're mortgage free?
Well, you know what? I think, the start is, when we say really, really fast, to put it in perspective, the plan on there is it's really fast in comparison to the average Canadian. The average Canadian is taking an amortization of 30 years to pay off their house. What we're saying is being able to pay it off in 10 years. So it's a third of the time, right? So to put it in perspective, you're not paying it off in 1 month or 3 weeks. No. It's still a 10-year time frame. But I think what ends up happening is, I think that'll be the next book, what to do after you're mortgage free, because the beautiful thing is, once you've paid off your mortgage, is making sure that you continue down that path. You use that leverage. The idea is not just to pay down your mortgage to have it with nothing on it, that old sort of burn your deed kind of mentality, like back in the old days, it was, burn it up, we don't have a debt anymore. But it's getting rid of the bad debt, the non-tax deductible debt, non-leveraged debt is how we determine mortgage free. So, putting still a line of credit or using that equity in your house once you're paid off, or even as you're paying it down, that actually accelerates getting you mortgage free.
I'm so glad you went there, because that's where I was going to take you. I was going to grab you there, whether you wanted it or not, because I've been working on a little booklet for a little while. I mean, I started a year ago and I'm going to finish it one day. And I think the title will be, So You're Mortgage Free. Are you out of your freaking mind?
Oh, I like that.
Well, and the reason for that is because I'm addressing people who, like you say, have this old mentality of, oh, we're mortgage free now, we can burn the deed. And quick story here to illustrate this. Friend of mine in Orleans, I visit her, I look at her house and I said, what is this word? She said, oh, about 700. And I said, well, that's great. And your mortgage? So she laughed. She said, we've been mortgage free for 10 years. Anyway, long story short, a month and a half later, she went back to the bank to get a $500,000 mortgage at 1.95%. And she invested the money at 15.75%. She's making almost $70,000 a year of interest. So instead of, she was going to retire in 7 years, she's retiring next year. Why? Because I asked her the question about her mortgage and now she saw the light. Because my point to her was, you've worked hard for your house. Why don't you make the house work hard for you now? So it's like it changed her life completely. Now she's going to retire 5 years early because the house is working for her.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think it's hard for some people to change that mindset. And I think the more that they can relate to change that mindset from good debt to bad debt, it's what the banks have done for years. And I think we can all agree the banks have done pretty well. They'll take your investment, your bank account, pay you 0.001% on your $100,000, and then they'll lend it out at 1 or 2, and they're making a spread. There's no reason why we can't use our homes and do the exact same thing. I 100% agree.
All right, Catherine.
Well, one of the things that I'm really interested in, because you've seen an awful lot over the last few years, you know, it's been changing and ebbing and flowing. How has the mortgage market, what have you seen? What are the changes that you've seen?
Yeah, I think over the past few years, I think we've seen, you know, like I remember once upon a time, you know, and I'm not that old, but I remember being able to do 40-year mortgages with 0 down, right? So, and, you know, and this isn't even that long ago. This would be within the past probably 10 years, right? So when I look at, you know, you used to get a house, 100% financing in Canada and get a 35 or 40-year mortgage, right? And I say that just because that gives you a great indication of where mortgage rules have gone. You know, if we could all hop in our time machine, I would have been like, okay, I'll take 10 of those, please, for all those rental properties, finance them 100%. But now, you know, we're at a place where mortgage rules have gotten restricted year over year over year over year over year, right? And I think it's, you know, part and parcel to a lot of things. You know, we have a lot of investors entering the market. We have a lot of people speculating on properties, which is all great. But there's always those people that have abused the mortgage system and just used their house as an ATM and racked up a lot of debt. So we're constantly in an environment in the mortgage world where it's getting more restrictive to get money for financing. So, and I tell people that, and it's not a doom and gloom. It's not like it's impossible, but I don't think it'll ever be easier than it is today, right? And whenever you're listening to this, it's probably pretty hard today, right? But I don't think it's going to get easier 6 months or 12 months from now, just like 6 months or 12 months ago. There's always going to be issues when it comes down to mortgage financing. There's always going to be problems with mortgage financing, right? But I don't think it's going to get easier, right? So I think for anybody that's investing in real estate right now, take out a line of credit if you can. Talk to a mortgage broker if you can, right? Take out and leverage up the money to use it, because it will likely look different 12, 18 months from now than it does today, just like it looked different today than it did 2 years ago.
Good point. Really good point. So when somebody is coming to you, what can they do? What are some of the things that they can do that makes your job easier? So you can help, you know, so you can better help them help themselves.
Yeah, you can really tell I'm a mortgage nerd when you get excited about questions like this, eh? Like I'm just like, ooh, let me tell everybody, right? Because I love this. And I think this is a secret in learning what I've learned. And I'll use an example, right? I went to refinance one of our apartment buildings about 1.5 years or 2 years ago, right? And you know what? Guilty on me. The banking statements were a dog's breakfast, because as we all, sometimes people don't pay on the first, sometimes they pay on the second or the third, right? You're going to have some late payments every once in a while, but my statements got a little bit out of hand. And the underwriter said to me, and I was a little embarrassed to even share this, but she said, Brian, you got to understand that this is a reflection of how you run your business, right? So, and the whole reason why I share that with you is firsthand, like, I don't run my business that way. I run it perfectly. I'm just kidding, right? But the reality is that when you're going to apply for financing, whether you're applying for your first investment property or you're applying for a 20, 30, 40 unit building, the paperwork that you present to the mortgage broker, which then in turn gets presented to the lender, is a direct correlation of who they're going to be dealing with. So if it looks like crap, the lender's first perspective or first impression of that is going to be like, this person is unorganized. So when you're going and getting into real estate investment, it is imperative, have your taxes done. Like, it's not rocket science. Have your taxes done. If your taxes aren't done, well, how old are you? You're 30, 40 years old. You don't know when they're due by now. Okay, so have your taxes done. Have them up to date, right?
Thanks for listening to the REITE Club podcast, where the focus is on helping all levels of real estate investors advance to the next level and help you customize your life. Be sure to tune in next week at reiteclub.com/podcast or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you get a few seconds, please rate the podcast wherever you're listening. It helps the show get noticed by others like you, and we truly appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe.